everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites. My name is Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Whether you're watching live or the replay, I just want to say hello. Hopefully you have a nice glass of something in front of you, because I'm going to be drinking some really nice whiskeys tonight. If you're watching the replay, feel free to skip around at the bottom. I'm putting the time codes to the different bottles I'll be drinking. But if you're watching live, hello, say hello in the chat. Tonight's episode is really special because it was brought to you by you guys. That doesn't make sense. But what I'm saying is every single one of these bottles or pours tonight were thanks to this community. Whether you're a patron or a viewer of the show, you guys are awesome. And I appreciate you giving me a little taste of some really awesome bourbons. So tonight's all about bourbon. We're drinking high-end, expensive bottles. Every single one of these has an MSRP of over $170. So we'll answer the age-old question, is expensive whiskey really worth it? I asked over on Instagram earlier today, and I got a variety of answers. So I'm really excited to dive into these tonight. The only thing, you know what, I'm starting on a fresh palate. I haven't drank any bourbon tonight. I feel like, these are all experiences in themselves. So I don't want to kind of taint my palate with a different bourbon. But trust me, I've had plenty of bourbons on this channel, many of which are on Hangouts on our Discord server. If y'all don't know, there is a Discord server for this channel. You can just go to bourbonbites.com and you'll find a link to it on that link tree at the bottom of that. Speaking of links, I kind of hastily last minute put together some links in the description. Some of you may be seeing them, some of you may not, because I do have a couple announcements related to my different social media channels outside of YouTube that I want to go ahead and get out of the way. First of all, one I've been talking about for the past couple weeks is the new free trial to my Patreon. That's a new feature that they allow us to enable. So I put it on my most expensive, not my most expensive tier, my most popular tier, my Bourbon Megabytes, which is the $10 level. That gets you access to our after party hangout that happens after every Thursday night live stream, including tonight. But I also wanted to mention that there's a brand new Patreon perk that I'm so excited about. You guys kind of recommended it on a recent hangout, but I just added a new perk for everyone $5 and up. That's Bourbon Bites and up, which is our 80s retro movie night. So we will have a watch party of movies voted on by you guys. Every single month. We'll do it once a month. We'll do it over on Discord. That's for patrons only, like I said, at the $5 tier. If you have your Patreon linked to your Discord, you get access to that new room that I've created called the monthly, I think I just call it monthly movie night room. But yeah, we'll be streaming some fun 80s movies. You guys voted on the first movie. And most of these are movies that I haven't seen, including this one. So the first movie we're going to be watching is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which surprisingly, I haven't watched. I haven't watched a lot of 80s movies. I know that's the vibe of the channel. What am I doing here? So that's why you guys are indoctrinating me with some of those movies. So I'm really excited. If you want to get in on that, of course, if you sign up tonight, you'll get access to that. I'll post all the info about when we're actually doing it on Patreon. But you can support the show for as little as $2 a month there, as well as the Bite Club here on YouTube. I see quite a few members in the chat are members of the Bite Club. But I do just want to say thank you to everyone, whether you sent me samples for tonight's stream or you just support the show, or you're just showing up and you're drinking with me. So let me know what you guys are drinking in the chat. I want to say hello to quite a few folks. Y'all are busy tonight. I love it. First of which, Bradley is here in the chat. Bradley actually sent one of the samples for tonight's stream. I'm so excited to get into. Thank you so much, Bradley, for being a supporter of the show. I see Five Fingers here as well. EMC, what's up, Emily? Emily's one of the incredible mods here, along with Brandon. And I saw him earlier. I know Donnie's here somewhere. Chris is here. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Adam Free as well. Man, what a great crowd. Bourbon Noob also gave me one of the samples for tonight that I'm really excited about. Joseph Brazo's in the chat. What's up, Joseph? That's me. That's me being late, as usual. Y'all know the drill. Don Nishida, who is a patron and Bite Club member. Good to see you, Don. Hope you're doing well. Aloha, all the way from Hawaii. Let's see. Who else is here? Steven Sussman, another patron of the show. What's up, Steven? Good to see you. Longest 2 minutes ever. I'm sorry. Look, I was in my Twitch streaming mode on my computer, so a lot of my settings had to change. Speaking of which, the other link that I randomly dropped at the bottom down here is my Twitch channel. So a lot of you guys don't know, but this is supposed to be whiskey reviews with a gaming twist. Haven't done much of the gaming lately, except this week, because I got the new digital deluxe version of Hogwarts Legacy. I streamed some of it the other night. If y'all missed that stream, the replay's up on Twitch. But make sure to follow me on Twitch. Completely separate. I still do whiskey. I always pair whiskey with the games, but that's more of my gaming channel. If you're in any way interested in that, even if you want to just have it on casually as you're drinking, feel free to follow me on Twitch. You can also subscribe for free if you have Amazon Prime. Look into that. It does support me, so you don't have to pay a thing. You just have to click a button, and it does support me on Twitch. So But I appreciate everyone that follows me there, subscribes to me there. I love y'all. I'm going to be way more active on Twitch, I promise, especially with the new Hogwarts game. Are y'all playing it? Let me know. Oh, who else is here? Zopher's here. What's up, Zopher? Good to see you. VG, good to see you. Hello. I feel like I recognize your name. I don't know if it's from my chats or other people's chats, but good to see you. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Kathy Joe, Women of Whiskeys is here. Oh, we have a fun stream planned in the next few weeks with Women of Whiskeys. Make sure to subscribe to Kathy Joe and Michelle over there. We have some fun bottles that I sent their way that we're going to drink through. So that'll be coming in a few weeks. We got some time, but make sure to subscribe to them in the meantime. See Jackson in the chat, another name that I don't necessarily recognize, but welcome. So good to see you. I'm glad to see you. I've seen quite a few new folks tonight, which I'm really excited about. Thank y'all for tuning in on a Thursday night. I know it's late if you're East Coast. I'm over here in California, so I just cut off work and finished dinner. But Clifton wasn't alive in the 80s. That's my excuse, right? Like that's why I haven't seen many of them. But I really do enjoy movies of that era, as well as, you know, I kind of like both. I like vintage movies. I was about to make a lot of y'all mad. It's like vintage movies like from the 80s. So I'm like, oh, y'all gonna judge me for that. But I mean, like, I watch older movies than that too. Like I know they had cameras back then. Don't worry, I'm a little ignorant, but not that ignorant. Evan Williams bottle and bond, starting off easy until I get my classwork done. Nice choice. I am drinking. Don't worry, I'm not judging you for that because that was my go-to for a long time. I'm drinking some very expensive pours tonight that aren't my usual go-tos, but I'm glad to see you taking it easy. I like it. Taking it easy at 100 proof. I like that. What's up? Oh, just making sure. Bourbon Notes here as well. Good. Hello. I do recognize your name. I don't know if I've seen you in a live chat or I've just seen you around the YouTube, but hello and good to see you. And Mr. Whiskey Shits, wow, been a while. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. I mean, to be fair, it's been a while since I've watched the other channels as well, but so good to see you. Hey, I'm really excited for tonight. So without further ado, shall we get something in my glass? Now, I don't have a warm-up pour. I'm just jumping right into it. And I feel like the best way to do this, since I haven't had anything else to drink tonight, is to go by proof, which means we're starting out hot, and not like hot in the proof way, but hot in the price way. Because our very first bottle here, y'all saw, well, the thumbnail's not in the right order, but it may be for this one. But first one we'll be drinking tonight is thanks to our friend Patrick, the Bourbon Noob. Patrick and Heather are great supporters and friends of the channel. They sent me a sample of a bottle that I tried to get my hands on. Don't worry, I reached out to the brand. I was like, hey, can I try that one? And they're like, no, sorry. They're like, I can't, the reps was like, I can't even get my hands on it. So did not have a chance to try it. But now, thanks to our friends Patrick and Heather, we get a chance to try Remus Gatsby Reserve. Now, this came out last year. MSRP, I think, is between $230 to $250. So it's really up there in price. But it's from the famed Indiana Distillery, formerly known as MGP. Now they go by Ross and Squid. This is a 15-year-old bourbon, a blend of bourbons from 2005 and 2006. It's a tribute to the Great Gatsby. I'm excited, y'all. I've had some older MGP blended into the other Remus bottles. They have the Remus Repeal Reserve, which is about $100, $130. This is the premium. This is the granddaddy of Remus. So I'm going to cleanse my palate a bit and get a little bit of that in my glass. I'm very, very excited. Brandon says, don't start with the Gatsby. Brandon, I got to do it by proof. I know. The proof is the highest on that King of Kentucky. I'm saving that for last. But I feel like it wouldn't be fair for me to go by price because then I'll be trying some really high proof ones, then going low proof. So, yeah, I just feel like that's the executive decision here, the smartest thing to really judge these fairly. Saw this one. It was too broke to pick it up. Me too. I never saw it. I wish I did. Whiskey Nose, Marty and Ginny. How are y'all tonight? Good to see you. Good to see you. I love the community showing up tonight. I wonder if it means someone else isn't live that's normally live. I don't know. James Taylor's here as well. What's up? I'm a Dew, grandfather's family name. I'm a Dew. What? I don't get it. But good to see you, James. All right. So we're going to pour this. I got to be really careful because I want to save a little bit of this for myself a little bit later. But I do want to start off with the really nice pour to say thank you to all the incredible patrons and viewers of the channel. Hey, if you're a viewer and you're not yet a subscriber, hit the little button down there. You can also hit the bell button and be notified every time I go live. Although I'm here, same time, same place, not every week, almost every week, as much as I can be. But yeah, so good to see some new faces and familiar faces here as well. I'm also checking my phone because, as I said, I just got off work and it's been crazy freaking week, but it's been a good one. So just making sure everything's running smoothly in my absence. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this. Well, I guess I already did. Basically, 15-year-old Indiana bourbon. I'm a huge fan of Indiana bourbon. Haven't quite had it this old by itself. Let's give it a nose. Ooh, that's a great. I'm getting my little flavor wheel here because I like referencing this during the when I'm getting serious about my reviews, y'all. All right, let's see. Let's give that another nose. Huh. It's so oaky that I feel like I would be just as confused if someone told me that this was a Knob Creek actually, which is weird because when you're drinking an old Knob Creek later, I would love to compare these two together. I'll save some in my glass, but yeah, it has that really oaky, intense note, and it's nice. It's not like a bitter kind of oak. It's very much like a sweet oak, sweeter. Definitely, I always use the note saturated oak is what I call it, but it's like an oak that's obviously has some age to it, some whiskey that's been sitting in that barrel for a really long time. I'm drinking the Remus Gatsby Reserve. I'm sorry if I said Repeal Reserve. Um, yeah, sure looks 15 years old. Yeah, it's dark. I mean, actually, you know what? The Knob Creek's a little bit darker, but we'll have to see a little side by side. What's up, Jason? Mash and Drum. What's up, man? If y'all don't know, Jason and I, along with Ed from the Rock Gut Review and Adriana from Whiskey Mountains, play a Dungeons and Drams game, as well as our friend Molly and Dungeon Master Bill, the Whiskey Dick. Go live every Monday night. We had a really fun stream this past week. Y'all make sure to check out the replay of that. It's also a podcast form if you prefer the podcast. We also do a lot of YouTube shorts, thanks to Bill being amazing with his editing. But yeah, and y'all go check out Mash and Drum. Y'all know Mash and Drum. I feel like I'll be seeing him. I don't know. I've been hearing rumors of people that have been in Matt Madness, and I happen to be invited back this year for a third time. So maybe third time's the charm. Maybe we'll do well this year. I'm definitely testing my palate now with the expensive pours. Maybe Matt will start asking us how much things cost. I hope not, because I'm really bad at it. But we'll find out tonight if I think expensive bourbon is noticeable. EJ is here. What's up? EJ's a viewer of one of Dungeons and Drams. Good to see you. I feel like I usually see you over there versus here. But hey, man, thanks for stopping over. Aloha to you too. We have two Hawaiians here. We used to have three. There was someone else that was from Hawaii. Haven't seen them in a while though. All right. Oh, Tony Bag of Donuts is here as well. Tony, I have your sample I'm drinking tonight, so I'm excited to get into that as well a little bit later. All right. I can just sit here and nose this Remus all day, but I think it's time to give it a try. So cheers to y'all, and thanks for sending me your whiskey. Ooh, that's intense. I don't know if I mentioned the proof. This is 97.6 proof, which is the lowest of the night. Wow. That is, first of all, it's dry. It's dry in a very good way if you are a wood lover like myself. You can tell, I mean, this is obviously a really old whiskey. I think, it almost drinks. I've had some older, very rarely actually. I've rarely had older than 15 year, but yeah, it drinks like some of the oldest stuff I've had. I think I've had a Rhetoric, what is it, Orphan Barrel Rhetoric that was like 23. This drinks kind of up there. Now, of course, I haven't had any Pappy 20 or 23, but have had Pappy 15, and this definitely drinks older than that. Of course, different mash bills, always affect those things. But wow, I gotta have a second sip of this. I gotta give it another try. Again, this is a $230 bottle. Gosh, thank you again, Patrick. Second sip is a little more. My palate's kind of accustomed to it a little bit. It is. I saw a comment that I I promise I wasn't influenced by your comment, Brandon. Where'd it go? We lost it. There we go. He said oaky and leathery. I was about to say it does have that like vintage old leather note. Like whether it's like it's not like new leather. So there's a difference. I know there's a difference. Y'all tell me if I'm crazy. But there is. It smells like an old leather saddle, maybe like an old leather chest, like a chest of drawers that's like has a leather coating on it. It just smells like, or it just tastes like that vintage quality. I mean, there's a reason that older MGP is this price because the quality is there. If you really like that older vintage oaky note, this is exceptional. And y'all know I love that note. So I think Remus Gatsby Reserve, although it's pricey, if that's your flavor profile, I think it's worth the price. I think it's really, really great. Now, what would I wish it being a little bit higher proof? Now, again, I don't know the actual barrel entry proof or anything like that. I think that's the one thing that would make it even more worth it to me. I am a little, hopeful. I was a little wishing that it was a little higher proof. And of course, I've been spoiled by all the great Knob Creek 15-year picks that came out a few years back. I had quite a few of those. Got very lucky. Those were like $65. But those were at 120 proof. So that's the only thing that keeps me wanting more out of this bottle. But I will say it's very, very good. I'll wait till the very end to say if it's actually worth it. I realized I was saying that preemptively and I haven't tried the others yet. So stick around to the end to find out which of these is worth it. Gotta keep y'all hooked a little bit. Bourbon Note says, interesting that the Gatsby is such a lower proof while being bottled at cask strength. I'd love to get one, but I'd have a hard time spending that much for a sub 100 proof bottle, even at 15 years. That's kind of along the lines of exactly what I was saying. So that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna try all of these again. Don't worry, I'm gonna come back to them. But that's the only hang up I have on that one, because for that price, oh man, I want that little bit more proof. But again, I'm a little bit of a proof whore there. It smells like rich mahogany, like Clint Eastwood's old leathery skin. Oh my gosh, what a description. Heather's here. What's up, Heather? Yeah, Heather and Patrick are incredible. By the way, Heather's going to be actually helping out with some merch on the channel here soon once I get the store situation figured out. She's kind of sent me some really cool designs, so I'm really excited to work with her on that. I love how y'all help support in amazing ways. Steve Burkout, what's up, Steve? Good to see you, man. Glad to see you in the chat. We're getting into some really good whiskey here. Proof does not equate to flavor and value. Hot topic, Patrick. Some could argue yes, some could argue no, but it just depends on the person. And I'm not saying yes or no either way. We'll wait till the end to find out my personal opinion on this. By the way, I asked on Instagram what you guys thought was expensive bourbon worth it. Let's see the results of that poll, shall we? Let's see. I feel like it was it's pretty divisive. Of course, I put a green poll on a green screen. How wonderful of me. 75% of you said no, it was not worth it. So that's just a very broad statement. Expensive is whatever you categorize it as. But that's a great point, Patrick. We'll come back to that. I think that's a great conversation. Y'all feel free to chime in the chat. Do you James just said depends on the bourbon. I gotta agree with you there. Directly, I'm not speaking absolutes. I got you, man. It's a great conversation piece. You know what else is a great conversation piece? This next bourbon, because I have been trying to get my hands on this bottle for, I was gonna say years. It's only been out for like a year, so not years, but for a very long time. I saw it for sale in South Carolina when I was home for Christmas. It was going for a bit more than I wanted to pay for it, so I passed up on it. Then one of my local liquor stores, Village Liquor out here in Montrose area of California, had a bottle for $200, and I had to buy it up because MSRP on this is $170, and I hadn't seen it below $250. So this one is technically not directly given to me by you guys, but I have to say thanks to all the patrons who do support me month to month. Your money is spent getting bottles like this. So thanks to all of you patrons and Bite Club members for my ability to have this Knob Creek 18-year-old. It's literally never been, I've opened it right before the stream, but I've not tasted it. 1992 to 2022. This is the honor of their 30th year anniversary, which is funny because this is also my 30th year anniversary in 2023 of life, I guess. I was about to say this is as old as me, but no, it's only 18 years. It's legal though. It's legal. That's the most important thing. Yeah, 100 proof, $170-ish MSRP. Now, I reviewed the 15-year a while back. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I did have some interesting opinions on that one. I thought it was a bit over oaked, which does worry me with an 18-year. Fresh cork pop. There we go. Yes, I am a little bit worried with this being an 18-year-old. Is it going to be over oaked? Probably other than that rhetoric I was telling y'all about earlier. This is the oldest bourbon. Yeah, the oldest bourbon I've tried. Not the oldest whiskey. I've had some scotches that are significantly older. Don't want to be struggling with that wax on the stream. Yeah, that was exactly the thought process there. I'm still surprised that the LC was absent on whiskey list this year. LC, what are we talking about? LC? Or do you mean KC? Knob Creek. Okay, yeah. Well, I couldn't include it in my list because I hadn't seen it or tried it. So that's the only reason it wasn't on my list. This is my first time trying it. By the way, it did come in this really cool box, which y'all saw in the thumbnail, limited edition. Of course, someone said that this plaque comes off and it says 15-year under it. Haven't tried it because I want to keep it, but yeah, it does come in a really cool box. Next blind stream for us, Knob Creek Blind Flight. Well, I don't have any more of the 15-year, but otherwise, yes, because I have a 12-year, 9-year, and some of those older age-dated store picks. So if we can get our hands on a sample of the 15-year, then we can do it. I'm not going to peel the sticker off. No, not every day you get to try an 18-year-old. The classic quote from the great It's a Bourbon Night. Hopefully they'll be competing in Mad Madness. Maybe I'll go a little head-to-head against them again. It's been happening the past 2 years, so might as well have it in the third year, right? As well as Perry from This Is My Bourbon podcast. All right, let's go ahead and give the Knob Creek 18-year a nose. I'm excited because y'all know I'm a Knob Creek fan. Didn't love the 15, but I heard later batches of the 15 were better. So maybe I'll get my hands on a more recent one, but didn't love the initial batch of the 15-year. Huh. It's funny because I said that the other one smelled like Knob Creek, the Remus, but they are pretty different on the nose alone. I think the Knob Creek is that classic Jim Beam nuttiness. Surprisingly, even after 18 years, it still sticks around. It's very similar to, I actually had some of the 12 a couple nights back. It's similar to the 12, and I love the 12. There's a bit more of a spiciness there. It's like the first thing that gets you up front is that nuttiness that I think we all know and love of Knob Creek. But there's some spiciness there too, and it's only 100 proof, which is interesting. Now spice, I don't mean like heat. I mean spice like baking spices. This one smells a lot more like I don't want to say creme brulee. It's almost more like this is gonna be weird. It's almost more like a cheesecake. I don't know why, but I'm getting some major cheesecake notes on this. Maybe it's more of like the crust, like a pie crust note versus the cheesecake itself. That's really interesting on the nose. I think it's a more interesting nose on first impression. Again, we're gonna try this all side by side. Let's give it a taste though. Cheers, y'all. And then this one especially, thanks to all the patrons and Bike Club members who made buying this bottle possible. Cheers to y'all. Ooh. Oh, my Knob Creek. My Nobilus's heart is happy. Nobilis being my Dungeons and Drams character. Oh, that man. The thing is though, I'm such a sucker for Knob Creek. Like, it's always been one of my favorite bourbons. And having it at 18 years old, is an incredible experience. Price aside, just having the opportunity to try it this old is really, really exciting. Have any of y'all tried this? I am surprised how much more or less tannic it is than the 15-year. Again, I had one of the early batches of the 15-year, but that one I had was just so overwhelmingly like oaky, like a bitter oak. This is none of that. This to me is really balanced with the sweetness, those dessert notes, but the oak as well. Mm. And what's interesting about it is like, I feel like maybe this is a thing with older bourbons. Again, I don't have too much experience with anything older than 14 or 15, but I feel like they lose a bit of that fruity sweetness, and they gain more of that oak sweetness. That really, it's not like sappy. Sappy is not the word. Maybe it's more of a molasses, like a darker, richer sweetness, less fruity. There's not as much cherry or dark red fruits. But to me, it's like, I don't know. It's just as desserty, but without the fruit, is how I would describe it. Again, you're not going to like this if you don't like the really hyper aged whiskeys. I do, though. I think this is exceptional. I think this is probably my favorite Knob Creek limited edition I've had so far. Other than the 21st anniversary, whichever one was the cask strength one, that one was really good too. But this is really, really great. And I'm excited to kind of come back through and compare it to the Remus or the Gatsby's. I would say Gatsby Remus Reserve, but it's actually Remus Gatsby Reserve. So I'm gonna keep them all poured. We're gonna come back down the line at the end. Just want to get caught up in the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything. Perry's here, stopping by briefly. Sorry I can't stay long. Been a stupidly long week. Love y'all, and I'll see you real soon. Same here, Perry. I was saying the same thing. I was a little late today because I was finishing up work stuff, but that's how it goes. Chris hasn't opened his Knob Creek 18 yet. What are we talking about? Oh, sorry. Brandon says, I haven't tried the 12 or 15, but this 18 year was amazing, I thought. Yeah, it's really great. I'm glad I have a bottle of it, is all I'll say. Yes, I paid $200 for it, but that's really good. Oof. Yes. All right, moving along. Like I said, we're going to go back through and we're going to rank these. We got 2 more whiskeys to try tonight. Hey, if you're just now, or I guess if you're just now tuning in, make sure to watch the replay where I tried these first 2 whiskeys. And if you are enjoying what you're seeing, hit subscribe. Also, I gave the spiel about Patreon earlier and the new perk of monthly movie nights. Really cool, really excited about that perk. Check out the link in the description if you are interested in that. There's also a free trial if you want to give it a try this month. All right, moving on to our next whiskey. Now we're going up in proof. We are now over 100 proof. So this next one actually comes to us by someone else in the chat, someone who knows what I love, and that's, of course, Tony Bag of Donuts. So Tony sent me this sample very recently, actually. I'm surprised that I actually still I'm on top of getting to reviewing some of these samples because I have had some of these for a while. But Tony's came in really recently. So this is the Bardstown Bourbon Company. No, this is a title. This is a tongue twister. This is the Bardstown Bourbon Company collaborative series, Bourbon County Stout. Bourbon County Stout barrel finished bourbon. That is a lot. That's a lot to say. But this one does come in at 111.4 proof. Same MSRP of the Knob Creek we just tried. Now this one is a 12-year-old bourbon that's been finished in the Bourbon County Stout barrels for 13 months. If you're not familiar, Bourbon County Stout is a very, very famous beer that comes out once a year. They have several different expressions. They often partner with other distilleries to kind of age that beer in those barrels. I think it's Goose Island, right? Am I remembering that correctly? It's Goose Island, Bourbon County Barrel Stout, Bourbon County Stout, something like that. Yes. So we are going to drink some 12-year-old now. This is a Kentucky bourbon. We don't know actually where it's sourced from. Obviously not Bardstown Bourbon Company because they do not have anything that old. Zover says the BCBS B, because it's the BBC BCS BFB. Bardstown Bourbon Company, Bourbon County Stout, barrel finished bourbon. Wow. Goose Island. All right, thank y'all. I thought so. Wasn't sure though. No, I said MSRP on this is 170, 111.4 proof. Tony, let us know what you think of this one. I'm excited to give it a try. And thank you again for the sample. All right, so we're going down 12 years. We went from 15 to 18 to 12. All right, I'm very curious to see. Now, I don't know where this is sourced from. Again, Bardstown Bourbon Company sources from a lot of different distilleries. They do use Barton a lot, which I like some older Barton. So maybe that's what this is, but I actually don't know. But let's go and give it a nose. Like I said, it was aged for 13 months in those stout barrels. Ooh, wow. Very different nose than everything else we've been drinking so far. It's got a nice roasted coffee kind of chocolate thing going on. And I'm sure that's from the stout barrels because like those are some similar notes that you can get on some of those Bourbon County stouts. It does have a bit of a, in addition to those notes, it's almost got a bit of like a, this is going to be a really weird note, okay? But bear with me. Almost like a construction paper note. Like, you know, those like color papers, I guess we call it construction paper. Why do we call it construction paper? Maybe if someone knows the answer to that, that's going to be a trivia. I don't have anything for you to win, but I do want to know why it's called construction paper. But it does have a little bit of that note mixed with that chocolatey coffee note. Really interesting. Okay. It doesn't smell like beer. I'll say that. It does smell like, it does give you some of those same notes that a barrel aged beer gets you, but it doesn't have that yeasty kind of beer note at all. It's hard to tell the age on it. I think the finish is kind of not overwhelming, but it's more dominant than the actual bourbon that's in here. Oh, Tony loves it. Awesome. He said, I freaking love it. I have a backup bottle to pick up. Bardstown say that there will be future collaborations with Goose Island. That is really good to know. I love both of the brands. I'm really excited to see how they work together in this and future releases. Yeah, that nose is so interesting. It it says you construct crafts with them. Okay, okay, that might be it. Because you construct paper crafts with it. Okay, okay, that must be it. I guess I never really thought about it that way. That's a good point. Yeah, this one's got me intrigued on the nose. It smells unlike any of the other ones. Let's give it a try. Thank you, Tony, for the sample. Wow, I wasn't expecting those notes to carry through as much. First of all, you can tell it's higher proof. It actually, I say that, but it actually drinks smoother than you would think at 111.4 proof. I would put this on par with the you can tell it's a little bit more than the Knob Creek, but not by much. I think that a lot of times those barrel aged, not barrel aged, all bourbon is barrel aged. Those stout or beer aged whiskeys to me always taste a bit more mellow, I guess I would say, than other ones. I'm thinking of like Jameson did a stout cask. I've had a Dragon's Milk cask, Deanston that I've had. So I always get that it always tames it down a little bit, and I'm getting that feeling here. I will say it tastes a little more like the beer than I thought. The nose didn't really give me the actual beer essence, but on the palate and on the finish, it kind of has some of that mouth feel of the Bourbon County Stout, which is really exciting because I do like those a lot. I'm gonna give that one a second sip. That one has a lot going on with it. Yeah, and it has a really intense mouthfeel. I think it for being I hate to say only a 12-year-old, but we've been drinking some higher proof ones. It carries a lot of depth to it, and I think I think it's kind of hard to tell because I feel like would I enjoy the base whiskey, that 12-year-old whiskey on its own as much? Probably not. But I think what they did with the finish here makes it really interesting. It makes sense to be a limited release kind of thing. Again, $170, same as the Knob Creek. It's a fun experiment, I think. And that's how I feel about a lot of Bardstown Bourbon Company releases. They are pricey, for what they are, but they are experimental, they're collaborative, and they're really fun to collect. So I'm curious to come back to that one. I feel like I wasn't feeling as enthusiastic about it at the beginning, but once I kind of had that finish kind of take place, I'm like, oh, there's something really unique here, and I can see why Tony loves it. It's really interesting and different of a bourbon, unlike any that I've had before. Uh, Bradley says Knob Creek 18 was too oaky for my palate. Yeah, fair enough. I think a lot of people would feel the same way. I do really love that note myself. Uh, yeah. So we got one more bourbon to try. Then we're gonna go through and we're gonna figure out which one to me I think is my worth it winner. Not to quote that other YouTube channel. We don't talk about them. I don't want to get copyright strike or anything. All right. Last one is another sample. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to one of the first people here in the chat earlier, who I actually just read his comment. Bradley sent me this awesome sample. This is of King of Kentucky bourbon. Now, he gave me the details of this on Discord, which of course I closed out of because I'm totally smart like that. Let me open that up. I messaged him right before the stream to find the details. Okay. So this one is a 15-year-old barrel proof, of course, 131.7 proof. So this is the highest proof of tonight. It's also the highest priced bottle of tonight. My mind is blown by the price and how generous Bradley is. He's also one of the most active members on our Discord, along with quite a few others there. But wow, this King of Kentucky. Now this is there are only about 3,500 bottles produced of this. It is the majority of it was in Kentucky. However, it was also going to be released in limited quantities of Illinois and Ohio. So this one, like I said, 15 years old. Um, it is a brand by Brown Forman, so I assume it's their own distillate. Again, I've never had a King of Kentucky. I'm excited to give it a try. Um, and again, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to give it a try too. So let's get a port. By the way, these are all going in clean glasses, just in case you're wondering. Because I'm going to go back through and rank them. Not rank them, but be like worth it, not worth it. For me, personally. What's up, Dungeons and Drams? I was just giving us a shout. I gave us two shout outs tonight, actually. So y'all go make sure. Let's do it for three. Check out Dungeons and Drams, where I participate in a really fun D&D campaign. Old Man Joe is here. Old Man Joe was watching over on Twitch the other day. Good to see you again. Uh, KOK stands for King of Kentucky, by the way. Is a wonderful pour. Chris said, "True story. Paid $100 at the bar for one, and it was worth it." Wow. Okay, y'all must be really big fans of this one. Super savory. Oh man, y'all got me excited. Wow. Okay. Now this is the second 15-year-old I've had tonight. I won't go. That's funny. Oh, what a nose. That's got some like, you know how I said the other one was spicy, like in a baking spice kind of way? This one's spicy and kind of like a, I don't know if it's like pepper, like dried pepper kind of way. Whoa. It kind of, I mean, obviously it's 131 point something proof, but it has a bit of like a spicy kind of, wait, no, Brandon said savory. Yeah. On the nose, super savory. I was going to say the same. It's got like a spicy kind of like soup kind of thing going on. I don't know about curry, maybe curry. I don't know. Definitely some spice though. Like some really like something that's been like stewed in spices for a really long time. All right. Let's go ahead and give this a taste. Thank you so much, Bradley, for the opportunity to try it. And thank you all for watching. Oh, that proof. Oh my. Ha. Wowza. Feel it in my brain. Like it's tingling. Some things are going on there. Wow. All right. Talk about dense, hefty, bold, rich, mouth filling. This is a beast of a bourbon. There's a reason it must be king, right? It's called it's called King of Kentucky for a reason. This is such a bold. It's not as oaky as the other ones, but it's got such a intensity. Less savory than on the palate than on the nose, but it does have a really nice. I think Brandon nailed it. He said nutmeg. I think it does have that. I said not baking spices earlier, but it does have a bit of that nutmeg intensity. Still a bit with the. I'm still getting some of those more savory spices as well. Gotta have a second sip of that one. Holy crap, that was a monster. First of all, when it first hits your tongue, it does have that vintage, older. It's less of like the leather that I was getting the other ones, but it's more of like an old like bookshop or like an older building. Like you went to an older attic or something. I kind of get that note. The oak is a lot drier for sure. This is such an interesting one. It's the flavor profile is completely different than any of these other ones. Um, it does have hints of that brown formanness to it, so it kind of reminds me of some of the old Forester barrel proofs I've had. Of course, those are much younger, for sure. But there are some similar elements there that I get on those. Not any of the banana kind of, fruitiness. It is a bit more fruity than the other ones, but it's more savory than fruity. That is a bourbon. That is a bourbon for sure, as they all are. But uh, Adam says, no King of Kentucky over here. Support an Old Forester President's Choice sample to at least be in the same family. Absolutely. King of Kentucky grabs you by the nethers and tosses you around. Sounds like something from Dungeons and Drams. I feel like Gatsby is the outlier, as it's the only non-phallic bourbon tonight. Why would we drink a non-phallic bourbon? Knob, BBC, and KOK. I mean, Gatsby was pretty Remus, more like me. I don't know. I tried to make it naughty. Joseph said first somehow. Hey, Joseph, no worries. I mean, not no worries. Thank you. I don't worry about super chats. I do appreciate them though. That's another way to support the channel. Although I like I said earlier, I appreciate all methods of support. It really does make things like this possible. Like this Knob Creek bottle that you guys funded. So thank you so much for the super chat though, Joseph. I really does mean a lot. All right. Dusty books is such a great note that I get from older bourbons. Wish it was more common. Me too. Me too. Why would you? Why would we drink a non-phallic bourbon? Another great T-shirt. That's a very limited market for that shirt. Women of whiskeys might get behind it, but not most men of whiskeys. I feel like. All right, so we've tried four incredibly expensive, incredible bourbons, but now I'm going to go through and I'm going to figure out for me which one was my most worth it for the price. Again, personal opinion. I am so grateful for all the opportunity to try these. I would have never bought a lot of these or had the opportunity to in the first place. So we're gonna go one by one. We're gonna go down the line. So we're gonna take a little another sip of each of them. What I'm most interested to do is do a quick side by side between the Knob Creek 18 and the Remus 15. So those I think to me were most similar. This is the Remus. Mm. Even coming back from a high proof bourbon down to the what was it 97.6, it is a really well thought out bourbon. I mean, I've said this before in other whiskeys, but I feel like you can kind of tell when a whiskey is a limited an LE bourbon. There's something about the taste, not the taste, not that it tastes necessarily like it's limited edition, but just it's so well crafted. It's so just perfected. It's like they put thought into the bottle. They're not just slapping a label on it and charging a ton of money. They're like, no, this bourbon is a step above, and I'm going to put that price tag on it to represent. I get that on the Remus. The problem is, which I saw some comments in the chat, why is it 97.6 proof? Brandon said it drinks hotter than 97. I think that's fair. I think, coming off of a 130 proof, which is why I didn't start with that one, it is a bit lighter. It does have a bit of a shorter finish. But I'm pretty sure most of us in the chat have had an Indiana bourbon. Even if it's not an MGP or Remus and Squib or Remus or a Ross and Squib labeled, you've probably had Indiana bourbon. But how often do you get to try it so old? And I think it really does develop with age. I think this is probably one of the better MGP bourbons I've ever had. That being said, I've had some younger MGP bourbon at higher proof that I feel like I enjoyed equally, and close to equal. So I do feel like, Chris said, isn't it barrel proof at 97? Is it? What was the barrel entry proof? That's what I was saying earlier. I don't know the barrel entry proof in that, but I couldn't find any information. Oh, actually, you know what? You proved me wrong. A blend of two mash bills. This cask strength comes in, and then it gives you tasting notes. So it is cask strength. So that makes me think it obviously had to be entered in the barrel at a lower proof, which is, some people say it does enhance the flavor a bit. It's. Let me try that. Let me go back to the Knob Creek again. Similar proof. Now the Knob Creek is definitely not cask strength. It's proof down to 100. A little bit more, a few more years on it, but it's a lower price. Let's try the Knob Creek real quick. To me, the Knob Creek has a bit longer of what I call a journey. It's basically like a finish, but I call it a journey when it starts at the tip of your tongue and slowly works its way back. The Remus did it, but it happened a lot quicker. For me, between these two, I have to say I prefer the Knob Creek 18. To me, it just exemplifies what I expect an older Knob Creek to do. It blows the 15-year away. It's similar in quality to the 12-year-old, but if 12-year-old is worth $65, this is worth $200, which is a big jump. I mean, dang, that's more than I spent. Just so y'all know, I don't buy expensive bottles very often. Most of my bottles of bourbon or whiskey in general are under 150. Like 95% of my bottles are under 150. This Knob Creek 18 is a worthy exception. I think Knob Creek 18 is worth it. It is worth the $170 to $200 price point. $250, which is what I saw for South Carolina, is a bit high for me. I think I'd be struggling to pay $250. Maybe if I never saw another bottle ever again, I'd pay $250. So if it's the only one you've ever seen, maybe pay it. But I do think, Brandon makes a great point. It's almost in line with Heaven Hill's $10 per year. That's fair. It absolutely is. I do really enjoy it. So the Knob Creek 18 is worth it. Which brings us back. We're going back. We're gonna save that. We're gonna go back to the Remus at the end. Let's go on to our other 15-year-old bottle. Let's go to the King of Kentucky we just tried. Now, both of these are about the same price. One comes in at 130 proof, one comes in at 97 proof. Let's try the King of Kentucky real quick. Man, such a complex, interesting bourbon. I think, it's it's a little bit different than my flavor profile personally. I've never been a big fan of Old Forester or Brown Forman products, but I can tell that this one is one of the highest quality ones I've ever tried. So for some people, I could say this King of Kentucky is worth 250. For me personally, being that it's not exactly my flavor profile, I probably wouldn't pay that for it. I probably wouldn't buy this in general if it was over my 150 threshold. But I do think it's a really great bourbon. It's just you gotta like that flavor profile. None of the banana-ness, don't worry, it's not the banana runts flavor that I've gotten on some Brown Forman, but it does have some of those more similar characteristics with those spices that aren't quite my jam, but it's really, really incredible. So this one's got a halfway point. For me, so halfway point, is it worth it? For some people, absolutely. Is it for me? Not necessarily. For me, it's a thumbs down. Not that it's not good, but for $250. All right, now to our other 15-year-old. Back to the Remus. This is the one that's got me tripping up because like it's so rare to have the opportunity to try this, but I mean, obviously y'all made that happen. $230, 15 years and 97.6 proof. I'm sitting in silence because I'm really debating this one. I think I'm probably gonna have to say the exact. Okay, for me the King of Kentucky was this. Remus is like this. Like it's not quite thumbs up. I don't think I would personally pay 230 for this one, but it's in my flavor profile. It's in my wheelhouse. I just wish it was higher proof, and I know it's cast strength, but like if that would be bumped up to just even at least like 110, it would be a thumbs up for me. I feel like. Now, granted, I haven't tried it at that higher proof. Maybe it doesn't taste as good then, but for me, this one is like it's really good. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't, I just don't think I would buy it. But I'm budget conscious. I've always been like very frugal with my bourbon purchases, unless I like splurge like the Knob Creek. I I would absolutely buy a pour of this at a bar to try it. And I think, if I saw it on the shelf and I'd never tried it before, I understand why you'd pick it up. But now that I've tried it, and that's how I feel about a lot of these things. If I hadn't had the opportunity to try it, then I probably would buy a bottle, if I see it for retail. But now that I've had the chance to try it, I think of it from a different mindset of, oh, I've tried that. Would I go out and buy a bottle of it? Not necessarily. Would I buy it at a bar? Absolutely. This is definitely a bar pour. Try it at a bar first. Same with the King of Kentucky. Then buy it if you can. That's why, like Joseph said, good luck finding King Kentucky for 250. I said retail. I'm going off of retail. I don't know secondary costs. I don't consider secondary costs. I've never really bought a bottle in secondary market, so yeah, hard to say. Tim Slam coming in with another question. That's definitely the most expensive bottle I've tried on the channel. I did, or no, I didn't. You know what? I didn't do Seagrass Gold. I'm sorry, I didn't have a chance to try that one. I did Seagrass Silver, the gray label, as well as the regular Seagrass. I did have a Barrel Gold, and it was just the original Barrel Gold label. It wasn't like Seagrass or anything like that. That was also $500. That one, I feel like my sentiment in the review still stands. Is it worth $500? Yeah, if you're willing to just plop down $500 and not think about it. But if you have to think about spending $500, I don't think it's worth it. I have to think about spending $500. I'm not made of money like that. So to me, that's how I feel about the Barrel Gold. I have not tried Seagrass Gold though. Would love to. Gatsby is 200 retail. Okay, that's good to know. Still personally, I think I now that I've tried it again, trying it makes the difference. I probably wouldn't buy a bottle, but I can tell that it's quality, and it's definitely. It's hard to say because, like I said, it's definitely worth it. Like you can tell it's a nicer whiskey, but just knowing that the Remus Repeal Reserve Batch 5, Batch 6, whatever batch you get, is about $130 or less, with some blended of this older whiskey in it, coming in at 100 proof. I think that's your better value for your money now that I've tried this. Now, someone said you should compare this to the Remuses. I could do that for a stream if y'all are interested. I still have some left. I'd love to do a little side by side. If y'all are interested in that, let me know in the comments. But yeah, to me, for the value, it's not quite worth it. Now, there's still one I haven't talked about, the Bardstown Bourbon Company Collaborative Series. I am a hard sell, Emily. I'm just secondary. No, come on, shut up. No, it's not. There is no really. Oh my. I don't understand the secondary market. I don't understand those prices. I wouldn't pay those prices myself. We're talking retail here. That's blows my mind. God damn. All right. The Bardstown Bourbon Company collaborative series that Tony sent. I love how fun this one is. It's fun. It's different. That finish is so interesting and unique. It's two very well respected brands working together. This one, this was getting worth it for me. I think, we're talking about like just the story itself, right? It is a 12-year-old bourbon. However, this bourbon has been put into a barrel that previously held beer, that previously held bourbon, which is probably why the name is so freaking confusing. But I like this one. I like this one a lot. I still think I would rather buy the Knob Creek for the same price, but it's really fun. It's a really fun experiment collaboration, and it's just fun. It's not the most complex bourbon itself, but the finish is something that I've not had before. I have had stout cask finish whiskeys. This one has the most stout influence I've ever had, and this is the first one that I've had on a bourbon. So I like it. I'm a fan. So for me, most worth it tonight was the Knob Creek 18. Also worth it, but not quite as much to me, was the Bardstown Bourbon Company. Remus Gatsby Reserve, very good. I personally wouldn't buy it. King of Kentucky, also incredibly good, especially if you love that flavor profile. Well, Brown Foreman has never been my forte. I've tried some of their more higher end bottles. I even own, I probably shouldn't be saying this on the internet, I even own a couple birthday bourbons. Have I opened them? No. I'm hoping to trade them at some point for something that I might appreciate a bit more. So I've never just been a Brown Foreman kind of guy. But for some people, it may be exceptional. So that's what I got to say about that. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing other opinions. This is just my opinion. There's no absolutes to anything, as Patrick said earlier. But what is an absolute is how grateful I am for every single one of you that have tuned in tonight or given me samples or supported on Patreon, Discord, wherever you support me. I love y'all so much. So with that, we're going to head over to do our after party hangout. Of course, reminder, Patreon, there's a free trial membership if you want to try that out and join us on the hangout tonight. Let me know. Send me a message if you do sign up tonight. I'll add you into the Patreon to give you that little, or I'll add you onto the Discord to give you the preview of our after party hangout. But for the rest of you, hey, like I said, I go live on Twitch playing the new Hogwarts Legacy. If you're at least a bit curious about that game, or my crazy character, I built a new character based on last time I played, by the way. Similar looking, but he's a lot hotter. He's a lot hotter. And his name's Dante, so it's like even hotter. So make sure to tune in to my Twitch channel. Tune in to Dungeons and Drams on Monday nights. But most of all, tune in right here on Thursday nights. But until next time, I'll see y'all next week. I don't know exactly what I'm doing next week, but I have a couple of really fun ideas in my head. So stick around. I'll see y'all then. Until then, have a great rest of your week and drink expensive and cheap bourbon, whether you're drinking Evan Williams Bottle and Bond or Knob Creek 18. Enjoy your pour. Enjoy your night. And I'll see you next week. Bye.